So, it's now time to begin. Just want to do quick introductions because there's probably going to be editing to make sure that this is start finish kind of thing. Um, I'm Nakas. If you all could just raise your hand and introduce yourselves.
Raise my hand.
Well,
I'm only on video.
some of us have video, sorry.
Well, I'm the dude. Parasite, I hope.
Vlad Card, you can call me Vlad.
Okay.
Let's see. So, and we have.
Oh, I'm Rosalind J. I'm Rosalind J.
We do have Ryan, but he's a silent partner right now. He's recording. We have 2 recordings going on for this. So we've all been introduced. Hello, welcome, thank you for coming. I hope this grows and becomes more of a thing with different subjects and topics eventually. Just quickly going over what we did earlier is I hope to use this to help allow everyone to express themselves verbally and communicate, and to help people practice their giving their beliefs in a real-time format, as well as being able to rapidly think and discuss. Not every there's going no one is inherently incorrect. No one is inherently. I'd like to keep this nice and clean and polite with each other, but sometimes things may go a little awry as opinions do clash. But this is primarily your opinions and how you feel this material impacts you. So I'll get Roz, would you like to do the reading, or would you like me to?
I can. Either one's fine. You're leading the discussion. I'll go ahead and let you do that. That's fine.
Thank you. As noted earlier, we are using today's sermon, "O the Humanity" by Roz. And I'll just start reading it. If you have it up, please follow along. Above are 2 things I would like for you to look at your leisure. One concerns the ancient Japanese art of kintsugi, and the other a reconnection ritual that may or may not be practiced in parts of Africa. I was inspired to write this sermon by a moment of vulnerability I was recently witness to. I cannot count how many times I've been in the same situation. Seen myself commit an error and immediately begin to punish myself or look down on myself or expect something better of myself. In my 31 years of living, I have never noticed growth when I belittled and berated myself into behaving better. In fact, I think I only made small wounds much bigger, small situations larger than life. It had the opposite effect. What I really want to get at is we need to remember our humanity. Kintsugi is about repairing, recovering, reconnecting a broken vessel, and allowing it to be of use again. Sometimes when we make an error, we feel worthless or useless, but the Force would have us know that we are not useless, that we are not worthless, but that we are beautiful because of our humanity, our frailty. Our capacity to break and make mistakes does not make us weak or inadequate to the task of being alive. I have learned much more from my mistakes than I have ever learned from my successes. As we learn, so we grow. In the African reconnection ritual, we discovered that we don't lose any part of ourselves when we make mistakes. Stop being a Jedi because I made an error in judgment. I may lose friends or family depending on the severity of my mistake, but I don't lose the capacity to make friends or to reconcile relationships. I don't suddenly become unlovable. I am not my worst mistake. I am all that others remember about me, both good and bad. When I remember that I am useful, that I am beautiful despite my flaws, despite my damages, when I remember that I am not my worst mistake, I am all the things that others remember about me, including the good, then I reset myself and get back on the road that is the hero's journey, remembering that I'm worthy of it. May the Force be with you all. Roz. Oh. Let's see, someone. Go ahead.
So if I'm not mistaken, kintsugi, I remember reading about somewhere, that's the art of fixing broken objects with gold.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I'm able to clarify that.
Just to start off, sorry, the dog is barking at people walking. Mike, hello.
Good
Hi.
evening.
Welcome to the
This is
discussion.
Alexander.
Greetings.
Howdy.
Hello.
Welcome to the group. We just
Thank
finished reading today's sermon, O the Humanity. Not certain if you've read it yet.
Not yet.
Say again?
Not yet. Oh, the humanity.
Yes. As a quick side note, if I speak too softly, just let me know.
I'll just turn the sound up.
So we're reaching into the actual discussion section now. In my experience, I was in the United States Marine Corps, and one of the first things they said to me when I went to boot camp was, "We're going to break you. You will succeed. You will absolutely succeed. And we will set you up for success. And then when you succeed, we will give you something harder and harder until you break. You will break. There's no question that you will fail somewhere, somehow, some way. And that doesn't matter. We expect you to. You're human. You will fail. But what we're going to do is give you the tools to become better than that and to eventually succeed. Because it's not a matter of winning all the time. It's about finding out where you failed, because that's where you find your weaknesses and you can improve upon them. The master woodcarver, he's a master woodcarver, but if you give him some metal to work with, he's got a lot to learn there if he has no experience. And that was one of the first things I thought of when I read the sermon was, we are going to fail. We're human. We may fail at the things that we succeed at normally, but it's noticing where we failed and becoming better. And our lives aren't going to be perfect. When we look back, we're going to see mistakes, we're going to see successes, we're going to see great triumphs, and there's just going to be, I've been in the rain crying with a bottle of beer, and we're all going to have these situations, and it's recovering from them and looking back from what you have grown from it, because the only useless situation is one that you haven't learned from. I mean,
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a musician, and been playing guitar for about 10 years. When I first started learning, my teacher would tell me all the time, like, if you make a mistake, forget about it, just keep going. As if you do make a mistake playing music and spend all your time trying to run through it and fix the mistake that you just made, well, that's not a very good performance.
That's true.
would someone else like to bring out some information? Tell a story?
My story is similar to yours, Matt, because I was in the Canadian Forces myself. And I remember being broken. That was a very hard time for me. But in the end, it ended up making me a lot stronger. Also, I wrote about it in my journal post ages ago, or ages, I don't know. But it was looking back at my time going through school. I wasn't in school for very long. Eventually, my mom pulled me out, taught myself. But when I was in, I was being bullied all the time. I was really small. Like, I did not hit any growth spurts for a long time until everyone else was like, everyone was head and shoulders over me, so it was very easy to pick on me. But as a result, it ended up making me understand. Like, I was broken, but the whole kintsugi thing, where you're broken, but once you rebuilt, you're going to be more beautiful than before. It's made me stronger. It added some character to me, added a little bit of uniqueness. So you learn from it.
Also, I like to think, in the sermon it said how you lose friends, and it made me think sometimes that might even be a good thing, because there's some people out there that may be toxic, that have led you to the way you are acting, and sometimes letting go of that is what what could help you heal yourself. For example, I have a brother, unfortunately, who's an alcoholic, and I keep telling him, you gotta let go of your friends, because your friends are always gonna drink, and your friends are always gonna offer you a drink. And you have to have the willpower to let go of something that's bad so that you can heal yourself. And sometimes not a lot of people have that strength. So it's not just the matter of I did something bad, it's what made me do this something that's bad. That could be a factor as well. I'm not sure if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, actually, because this is the point that Brene Brown brings up. There's a huge difference between guilt and shame. Guilt can actually be quite good for us because it lets us know that we have made a mistake. Shame, on the other hand, guilt is where I have done something bad, whereas shame is that gets mutated into I am bad. That's the thing that it's hard to get over. With regard to making mistakes and being broken, if we consider that we're not all that together to begin with, we're essentially thinking of breaking something which is already broken. It's been broken by our fractured lives. And if we think about integrity, or we think about ourselves as individuals, very few of us really are individuals. Individual means indivisible. Yet, we have public lives, professional lives, private lives, love life, whatever. I mean, the list can go on for a few more items there. Now, as long as we keep dividing life into these categories, well then, we're essentially living fractured lives. Our integrity then it's going to have to come from putting all of these fractured pieces back together, like with the kintsugi idea, but it puts it back together into something much more beautiful and much more serviceable than it was before. But we've got to get at this idea that, normally in kintsugi is you've got a bowl that was a ball or a cup or something that was whole before, and it's been broken, and then kintsugi is practiced in order to put it back together and beautifying those cracks. Where it doesn't really hold up for us is that we start out broken, and then to be broken again, it's just going to be having to put the pieces back together in a better way. Is this coming off clear or not?
Yes,
Perfectly, actually. Yeah. Wow.
I'd like to add something. I wonder what part of us is being broken. You know what I'm saying? I wonder, because we have, if we're not together, as Alexander says, we're not together. What image are we holding up that says I am together? False image? Or is it a false image that we're holding up that says I am together? I've got my stuff together, and then life comes and breaks it down. It makes us realize that we haven't gotten together. We need assistance, or something like that. I just wondered about it.
On a thought on that, something I've had to mention to a few people is unhappiness comes from comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah.
I would contest that a lot of people do try to, and I'm not, I'm not innocent of seeing someone else and saying they seem to have everything put together. I'm going to model my life around them. And I kind of think it's one of the ideas, one of the things I like about mentors is they kind of help you figure out where to put the pieces together on your own, as opposed to saying, look at me, I am the person you want to be. Because sometimes you only have cup parts instead, but they're trying to tell you to make a vase or something. And I truly believe that part of life is trying to figure out how to put yourself back together. It's who are you? And other people can't tell you that. They can guide you. They can tell you that looks like a handle, that looks like the bottom of the bowl or something, or a spout. But based off what Alexander was saying, it does make sense. Because you have people who lead purely professional lives, but there's no humanity left back at home. Go to work, earn money, come back home, go to sleep, wake up, go back to work. And other people who are completely, that's all they want to do is stay home and not do anything. And I think that may play some part in it, is that very few people have a consistent idea of where they should be looking for that information of how to put those pieces back together.
But if that's the case, wouldn't they be looking for a technique, just another method? As it were, speaking of, comparing ourselves to other people, we can get in just as much trouble if we're comparing ourselves to an iconic image.
Like a Jedi.
Or knight.
Or the ideal self.
But that's just it. The problem is that we're trying to make ourselves into our ideal selves, judging with the minds in our still broken state. So if we look that, if we are making these decisions on how to make ourselves better with our unbettered self, are we certain that our goals are really that sound?
Yeah. Like
So
if
it's
you
sort of
look
like
at,
go ahead.
sorry.
It was sort of like, as you're saying, like everything starts out broken. Like you start broken, and you're sort of like fixing yourself. You don't really know, like you have an idea of what you're trying to make. Say, for the example, a cup, and you're saying like maybe you're trying to put the handle in the wrong place. That's because you're still broken. It's sort of like trying to put together some instructions. What if you're trying to, like, you're putting this together trying to make a cup, and it's actually a plate?
Or we can abandon that notion altogether. It's like trying to put a cup together, and we have not seen a cup in 30 years.
And we don't have the instructions. We have to figure it out ourselves, and that's the hard part. And you can have an idea of what a cup looks like, and somebody else can tell you this cup looks like this. But in the end, you're like, well, your cup looks like that, but my cup looks like this. I don't think it looks like yours. And even
Sometimes,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
sometimes there's like different varieties of cup, depending on where you get your cup from.
Yes.
There's a mug, there's a glass, what is a cup?
Sometimes I feel like one of those 80-20 mugs. You fill it up past the 80%, it just dumps it all. What would you all say to the idea of just sort of merging religion and doctrine and all into this? What would you all say if, as individuals, we have difficulties putting ourselves together, but with other people chiming in as advice and not the blueprint, so to speak, but as guides of, hey, you might want to try this way or this way to help you find out who you are? Because that's what I kind of feel the temple is. It's not so much do this, do that, do that. It's here's a whole bunch of information, here's a whole bunch of experience. Build your cup.
Well, that's why the doctrine is left pretty open to interpretation. It is a set of guidelines, it's not a set of laws. If we can go back to the idea of being broken by military discipline, it's not much different than the religious idea of self-mortification. If we consider our creed, the next to the last line of it is, and it isn't by dying that we are born to eternal life. Now, this doesn't mean actual physical death, and being broken in military discipline doesn't really have much to do with, having limbs torn off, although that sometimes does happen. But what it is, it's having the identity, this individual me gets shattered, and so that it becomes, then we are able to incorporate the we aspect, and it is something transcendent. It goes out of just being this individual, which isn't, again, comparing itself, trying to imitate this or that or whatever, into being a collective where we can build within a community of one another. Then making mistakes is just, we can be vulnerable because we know that somebody's got our back. We know that someone is there, that, okay, we've made a mistake, but then how do we fix this? And sometimes mistakes even turn out to be very useful, because what's a mistake in one set of circumstances is actually the right thing to do in another. And that mistake is going to be remembered, and we're going to say, oh, well, look, this didn't work here, but then look, it's perfectly applicable to this. I mean, that's how we have things like Post-it notes. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but then the scientist who discovered this very weak adhesive, who, I can't remember his name right off, but he was working for 3M, of course. He was trying to find a very strong adhesive. Well, his formula didn't work at all. So he didn't bin it, he just, put it off to the side, said, okay, this is fucked, I can't use this, right? And then a few years later, someone else came along who was trying to organize his sheet music, and the bookmark kept falling out of his score. And so he remembered this very weak adhesive that was supposed to have been a strong one, and thought, this could be used, as for that. And so that's how we have Post-it notes, which are now sold in 170 countries. This is where our vulnerability within a group setting, as long as the culture is there to be supportive, where we're not, corrupt and trying to empower ourselves by climbing over one another, but whenever we're just, we're there and we're supporting one another, it's a community where everyone feels valued, wanted, needed, and loved, and that makes making mistakes not a source of shame, but okay, so we're guilty of making a mistake, but then it's going to serve later. So, there is one way to balance out, dying to the self, dying to the ego me, that, I need recognition for this, and I need to be this, and I need to show others this. No, our integrity is our integrity as being a part of a cohesive unit, which is a collective.
Yeah, I think that mistakes are actually pretty helpful for not only people who make the mistakes, but people who are in communities with those who make the mistakes. I mean, there are tons of things that I've had issues with that I know I can readily go to anyone, really, and tell Joe who has similar experiences and may have dealt with that, and they can help me out, and it's very useful.
Precisely.
Yep.
We have about 5 more minutes left, and then after the 5 minutes, it's if y'all want to continue the conversation, more than free. I've really learned. I really like this discussion. So I'm learning a lot, and it's changing how I perceive some of this stuff.
It would be good if someone could get to could write up a recap of it, and post that in the forums, because this is the sort of thing that we need to be doing more often.
We've got a recording going.
2 recordings.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know it was being recorded. I probably would have said fuck a little more often if I'd known.
If you're uncomfortable with it being recorded, I can do a transcript for you later if you'd like.
That would be.
Sorry, can you repeat?
That would be beautiful.
Not posting the recording, or posting it.
You can do both. Like if someone's wanted to do it, take the time to transcribe all this out.
Right.
It's gonna look like utter madness, but
We could benefit from a little more madness and a little less order, probably.
yeah.
That's true.
Oh, order is important.
Well, if you have order, you can't do kintsugi because everything remains in the place where it's supposed to be. It doesn't get knocked on the floor by the cat. No?
Oh, things have a tendency to remain where they're supposed to be.
You've never had animals or children, have you? I found the set of measuring spoons in the toy box. So. Does anyone else have anything to add on the topic itself, or are we comfortable with what we've discussed further and want to sort of stew in it and then comment on the post? I'll put up a post with this video, or if Ryan wants to do that. Think about it and then do comments on it later and sort of break it out when you've had time to think.
I just realized I had to accept the videos, and so it's like I'm only now seeing all of it. I'm sorry, you're going to have to forgive me. It's, due to my grand age, well then I'm just a little less abreast of all this technology stuff,
I'm sorry, I don't get videos because I'm not pulling it. Yes, I just see your guys' thumbnail.
Well, I don't change very much, so my thumbnail's pretty on the spot.
I think my thumbnail's a cartoon character.
We'll just.
Yours is a pumpkin.
Oh, cool.
Well, you got the orange and black headset, so you're good. So it's 1:30-ish for me. It's we've been here for about 30 minutes. If y'all want to continue talking, that's perfectly on you. Unfortunately, I do have to get running, and I want to try to keep these short because it is a lot of time to dedicate. In the middle of the weekend, we all want to maintain some of our. We want to play and forget about work, as it. I have to pick up my son and clean up and all this other stuff. So I want to try to keep these concise so we can explore options and then have multiple discussions throughout the week if we so choose.
That would be good because we can ask Roz. It's like we're already used to things like 2.5-hour meetings, for clergy and things like that. So, or the night's meetings, sometimes they go on for 2 hours or more, and so having these half-hour coffee sessions is kind of nice.
Do we want to do the creed? Or is that another thing? Okay, we'll have to do it.
As I look it up quickly.
Yeah.
Me too. I don't know where.
I have it on my desktop.
I don't really want to do the creed.
I am one with the force. The force is with me.
There you go.
Well,
Yes,
Simple enough.
you see, there's a problem with this, and there's a problem that I had with that prayer ever since I saw that film, and it was the whole I and me part of it. The thing about the Force is that it requires, in order to have that connection with the Force, there is no I and me left. And so it's difficult to get one's head around because we've all been brought up in this sort of identity constructing culture, but then the idea of going back to the creed there, it is by death that we are born to eternal life. It has nothing to do with physical death. It means by dying to the self. There is no self. There is no more me, my, mine.
When I was in boot camp for the Marine Corps, I almost achieved that sense of selflessness, that death of the ego, because they beat it out of you. I remember thinking, being on the drill fields, there was a sense of that I didn't exist anymore. And it was very much command input. It was almost being robotic at that point. It's kind of a janky mismatch of what we're talking about, but that's I can I remember going through drill commands and everything, and being with my platoon and hearing one person in my platoon get in trouble and feeling like it affected all of us. There's a sense of that. It doesn't matter how well you did; your platoon failed, and so it was negative. But I do understand the weird discord that does put on the individual, because you want to be an individual, but at the same time you want to belong to something bigger. But it's hard to reconcile the two. So it is now 1:33.
All right, we're packing it up then.
Well, let's pick up with this for the next time, because I feel that this is an interesting topic for us to explore.
Yeah.
And every Saturday, I think there'll be a sermon on this topic.
Okay.
So,
We get different viewpoints.
yeah.
Excellent.
And I kind of hope that once people see this video and see and sort of get a feel for the setting and how it's run, I mean, I would hope that more people join in. And if there's people in the UK or in the West Coast, wherever that is, if they want to have a different time schedule on the weekends, I'm more than happy to schedule another one and we can do comparison notes, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
Let's have a look in the UK. I'm not in the UK, I'm in France. But
That's that way.
It's out there.
I'm American. Everything that way.
it's here.
I don't know geography.
I'm American. It all radiates from America. Hamburgers and more hamburgers and hamburgers on top of them.
Hot dogs.
Hamburgers.
Well, that might be the topic we did discuss the time after next, because that's
Hamburgers and hot dogs.
I'm perfectly okay with talking about geocentric philosophies and how different regions impact different aspects of how we interact with society.
Oh.
So I mean, that's actually covered, I think, in the section 1.3 of the IP in regards to how societies are formed around either religion or church, if I recall correctly.
storytelling. Storytelling.
I just did that one. So
You get a good overview of storytelling from that particular element of Campbell, but then it can be explored even more in depth. I would recommend the book *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari.
okay.
Keep going.
I was just going to say it's sort of a thick book, but then it's also a very easy to read book, and it's fascinating. So,
I'd suggest The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious by Carl Jung. It's a really good read. I mean, he's kind of a little bit with his terminology, a little too technical sometimes, but it is fun.
Well, yeah, I would recommend that book also, and also the last one that was ever published during his life. Well, actually, it was published 10 days before he died. That's Man and His Symbols.
It's a wonderful book.
It is. It's brilliant. I mean, he wrote the first chapter of it, and then his protege, his 4 or 5 of his protege then wrote the other chapters, but he was involved in the editing of the whole book. So it's a good thing that he lived long enough to do that.
Yeah.
So we have recommended reading.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it. I mean, because if you want to get into archetypal psychology, well then, there's someone who's living now, James Hillman, who does brilliant work in that, if any of you read French, well then, there's Gilles Durand, La Manche Responsabilité. I don't know if that was ever translated into English, so we'll have to learn French.
Nope.
There's Duolingo.
If we,
True.
Lots of work by Mercier Eliade, which I know that his work was translated into English.
Yeah.
people want to, we can do like once a month at the beginning of the month, say, here's a book, and then at the end of the month we can do a discussion, a slightly longer discussion on our interpretation of the book if people would like.
Anyone know this one?
Are you holding
Yes,
up?
I have that.
Where is that?
Ikundu.
Yep.
I can't even see you.
This one.
What are you holding up?
She doesn't have video.
Oh, Roz? Yeah, you got this book. It's the Martin Buber.
Oh, freak that book now.
Ikundu.
No, it's beautiful.
No, it's not.
Yes, you did.
I feel like we're gonna have like an Oprah book club coming soon. Like, and today we're gonna discuss this book.
Actually, the Tokyo does have a book club.
Okay.
It's run by what's her name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. I will find it. I will find it.
Is it active though?
The book club, yeah.
It is how is it? He wasn't able to get a lot of traction with that. So if we want to do a book club, we have a group already created for that. There's tons of members in it. Just people are not active.
Mix that in with the book exchange thread and kind of get something going.
Yeah, there was that. I'll just find it real quick.
We can use like a Google chart.
And of course, my internet's going super slow. Like, hi, we're on dial-up today.
What we need is like a Tojo organizational chart where instead of like having to go through like the FAQ and click, 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 broken link, click, click, and try to find everyone, it's just like one chart that's.
That would be nice.
Oh, I have a new project.
Oh my gosh! I will find it and put it in the links when you guys post the
Okay.
discussion. It's irritating.
If there's no further discussion.
Oh, that's been good.
It was
I-
great.
Yeah, thanks for organizing this.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming. This
Yeah,
this
thank
is
you.
Good.
Yes, this has been wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you all
I'll
for
have to
coming.
read the James Hillman.
Yes. James Hillman is. He was also one of them who was responsible for getting the Red Book out. So
Oh, yeah. Got my copy of that over there.
it's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, the pictures. Amazing.
What?
Well, his current unit went through a depression from about 1912 to 1915, and during that time, well, then he did a lot of painting, and he was painting mandala. and some of them are just exquisite. I mean, well, most of them are just exquisite. So,
Oh, the book club is run by Jamie King.
oh,
She hasn't been on it.
I'll tell you what, in my free time after I complete 2 discussions on my college work, I'll work on pulling together from the FAQ a big master list and we can scrub through it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. I have a really great life. Yeah. I have a very active life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. This was really great. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you all for giving good information and making this a good discussion. So, I would like to bid all of you a great afternoon. Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely.
You as well.
Thank you.
May the force be with you.
and that's also
So with you.
that was what I did.
Yep.